Emily, your mother's surgery fee is 500,000 yuan, and it must be paid in full by this afternoon at the latest. Any further delay, and even immortals would find it hard to save her. The doctor's words pierced my mind like a cold chisel, causing excruciating pain. The phone screen displayed the bank card balance inquiry page, where behind a long string of zeros, that glaring 5 had vanished. A full 5 million yuan, the entire savings I had accumulated through sheer hard work over the 5 years of my marriage to Ryan. Just a minute ago, I was thinking that after paying the 500,000 yuan surgery fee, the remaining money would be enough for us to buy a larger house and have a child. But now, the card only had 3,200 yuan and 68 cents left. Buzz. The phone vibrated. It was a Facebook message from Ryan. A photo. Blue sea and sky, with the airport's floor-to-ceiling window in the background, my husband Ryan intimately embracing my best friend Vera, both smiling brighter than the sunlight. The Chanel dress Vera was wearing was the one I had accompanied her to pick out last week. Below the photo was a sentence, "Emily, don't wait for me. Consider this 5 million as your wedding gift to me and Vera, we're going abroad to get married." Oh, right, I forgot to tell you, the one I've always loved is her. I married you only because you could earn more money. You're so capable, earning another 5 million shouldn't be difficult for you, right? Wishing you, and your mom good luck. With a boom, I felt all the blood in the world rushing to my head. My ears buzzed, and the doctor's urgings, along with the corridor's noise, all turned into blurred background sounds. I stared fixedly at the photo. Ryan's smug expression and Vera's provocative gaze pierced my heart like 2 red-hot iron nails. 5 years of marriage, 10 years of friendship. My best friend and the man I loved most had absconded with all my money, delivering a fatal blow on the very day my mother was waiting for life-saving funds. They had calculated precisely that at this moment, I would be utterly helpless, with no one to turn to. They wanted to see me collapse, to see me kneeling in the hospital corridor wailing, to see me desperate and watching my mother die helplessly. I could imagine them at that moment, sitting in first class on a flight to a foreign country, sipping champagne and mocking my stupidity and disarray. Emily? Emily? Are you even listening to me? Your mom's condition, every minute delayed adds another layer of danger. My aunt's shrill voice pulled me out of my hellish thoughts. She and my uncle's family surrounded me, their faces filled with anxiety, but beneath that anxiety lay a deeper schadenfreude, as if enjoying the spectacle. Oh dear, what can we do? 500,000 yuan. Our family can't come up with that much money. Emily, didn't you say you had saved several million? How come you can't even afford the surgery fee now? Where's Ryan? He's your husband, and your mom is his mother-in-law, why isn't he showing up? Each sentence stabbed at my heart like a knife. I took a deep breath, my chest aching as if it were about to explode. Despair, anger, betrayal, all these emotions threatened to engulf me like a tsunami. I slowly raised my head, looking at them, at their faces showing genuine or feigned concern. Then, just when they all thought I would break down and cry, I smiled. It was not a bitter smile, nor a miserable one, but a genuine smile from the heart, even carrying a hint of pleasure and anticipation. My aunt was unnerved by my laughter. You, child, have you gone mad from the stress? I ignored her, lowered my head, scrolled through my contacts to a number I hadn't used in a long time, and dialed it. The phone rang only once before being answered. Hello. A low, hoarse male voice came through. The smile on my lips deepened, and in a nearly calm tone, I softly said, Warren, the fish have entered the net. There was a brief silence on the other end, followed by a low chuckle. Miss Emily, pleasure working with you. I've already sent someone to settle the hospital bill. Your mother will be arranged in the best ward with the top expert team. Thanks. I hung up the phone. The entire process took no more than 30 seconds. The surrounding relatives were stunned. My aunt's mouth hung open for a long time. Emily, who did you call? Who's Warren? Can he really pay 500,000 for you? I couldn't be bothered to explain and just calmly watched the operating room light. Within 5 minutes, the head nurse personally ran out, smiling broadly. Are you Miss Emily's family? The fees have been fully settled, and an additional 1 million yuan has been prepaid for later rehabilitation. We've initiated a special expert consultation. Please rest assured, we'll do our utmost. 1 million. My aunt and uncle gasped, and their looks toward me completely changed, from sympathy and pity to shock, awe, and even a hint of fear. Those who had been pointing fingers at me moments ago now fell silent as cicadas in winter, not daring to breathe loudly. I had no time to appreciate their changing expressions. My mother's surgery was the top priority. With Warren's arrangements, everything proceeded exceptionally smoothly, the best doctors, equipment, and care. 3 hours later, the operating room light went out, and the doctor emerged, smiling fully. The surgery was very successful. The heavy stone in my heart finally fell. After settling my mother into a single VIP ward, I finally had time to deal with those two scumbags, Ryan and Vera. Just as I sat on the bench outside the ward, an unfamiliar number called. I answered, and Ryan's nauseating voice came through, carrying undisguised smugness and boasting. Emily, did you get my message? Surprised? Unexpected? Are you crying in the hospital corridor right now? Begging the doctor for a few more days? Too bad, your mom's illness can't wait. Tell me, if she knew she had to die because you have no money, would she hate you? Every word of his was filled with malicious calculation. He knew me too well, knowing my mother was my weak spot. He intended to use her life to torment my heart. Oh? Is that so? I chuckled lightly, my tone as flat as discussing the weather. My mother's surgery was successful. She's now in a VIP ward with the nation's top cardiac surgeon as her attending physician. Oh, and I prepaid 1 million for rehabilitation, which should be enough for her to recover slowly. On the other end, Ryan's breathing suddenly hitched. What did you say? Where did you get the money? He screamed in disbelief. Why, very unexpected. I leisurely stood up, walked to the window, and looked at the bustling traffic below. You thought that by absconding with all my savings, I'd be at a dead end? Ryan, after 5 years with me, it turns out you don't understand me at all. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. I know all your bank cards inside out. Your parents are just ordinary workers. Where could you have a backup plan? Want to know? I paused deliberately, enjoying his frantic anxiety. I'm not telling you. Emily. You bitch. Have you been hiding private money behind my back all along? Ryan roared in fury. Immediately after, the phone was snatched by someone else. It was Vera. In a pitiful tone that actually concealed sarcasm, she said, Emily, don't blame Ryan, he had no choice. We truly love each other. You're so capable, you can earn the money back if it's gone, but if our love is gone, it's really gone. Please fulfill us, okay? Listen to that, such a green tea bitch statement. Fulfill you? Sure. I answered crisply. Vera and Ryan were clearly stunned, not expecting me to agree so readily. I'll fulfill you. I enunciated each word, my voice laced with ice. Not only will I fulfill you, but I also wish you to eat well, drink well, play well, and enjoy well abroad. Spend that 5 million freely, don't leave a single cent. It's best to record every expense, so when you're old, you can recall what price you paid for this money. My tone was too calm, eerily calm. Vera was unnerved by my words. Emily, what do you mean? Nothing. The curve of my lips grew wider. Wishing you a pleasant journey. After saying that, I hung up directly and blocked both numbers permanently. As the phone screen dimmed, the smile in my eyes vanished instantly, replaced by a cold frost. Ryan, Vera, your game has just begun. And my revenge has also unveiled its curtain. You thought you were the hunters, but you didn't know that from the moment you stepped into the trap I set, you had already become my prey. That 5 million isn't your startup capital, it's the money to hasten your demise, the price for your lives. Why did I have Warren's phone number? This starts with the company I work for. I am the manager of the risk control department at a financial company, handling billions in fund flows daily. Half a year ago, I discovered an abnormal fund of up to 50 million yuan, which circulated through dozens of shell companies in an extremely complex manner on the market, ultimately pointing to a company named Hongxing Capital. The boss was Warren. This was money laundering, large-scale and professionally executed. If I leaked this information to the Securities Regulatory Commission, Warren would spend the rest of his life in prison. But I didn't do that. Holding this information, I knocked on Warren's office door alone. I still remember the way Warren looked at me then, as if gazing at a dead person. He thought I was there to blackmail him. I placed the documents on his desk and said only one sentence, "Warren, I want to make a deal with you. I can patch up this 50 million hole for you, making it seamless and undetectable. But I have two conditions." Warren narrowed his eyes, signaling me to continue. "First, after it's done, I want a 10 million yuan commission. Second, I need you to help me deal with two people." I pushed over photos of Ryan and Vera. Warren looked at the photos, then at me, and suddenly smiled. "Miss Emily, quite an appetite. Is it worth risking your future for two ordinary people?" "They are not ordinary people." I stared into his eyes. "One is the husband I've been with for 5 years, the other is the best friend I've trusted for 10 years. They've been hooking up behind my back and plotting to take everything from me. Dealing with such people using conventional means is too lenient. I want them to fall from heaven into hell." I elaborated my plan in detail. I knew Ryan was greedy and Vera was vain. I had long noticed something off between them. I deliberately revealed my assets in front of them, telling them I had earned 5 million from investments over these years, all placed in one card with the password being Ryan's birthday. I bet they would be tempted. Sure enough. I deliberately revealed that my mother's condition had worsened and needed surgery, and right after, they absconded with the money. But the card they took with over 5 million wasn't my money at all. The card's account holder was opened under an unrelated identity by me. And the money inside was part of Warren's dirty funds. I had Warren's people launder 5 million into this card. Next, as soon as Ryan and Vera started spending this money abroad, every transaction would become ironclad evidence of their involvement in money laundering. Warren could not only patch his own hole but also find two perfect scapegoats. And I could get a 10 million reward while making that adulterous pair suffer irreparably. This was a high-stakes gamble. Win, and the world is open; lose, and it's utter destruction. After hearing my plan, Warren was silent for a long time. Finally, he stood up and extended his hand to me. "Miss Emily, you're more interesting than I imagined. Pleasure working with you." My thoughts returned to reality. Just as I entered the ward, my phone vibrated. It was a message from Warren's assistant, a photo and a line of text. In the photo, Ryan was embracing Vera, standing in front of a red Ferrari sports car, smiling triumphantly. The text below read, "Targets have spent $1.2 million at Dubai's largest luxury mall on a sports car, luxury watches, and jewelry. All transaction records locked." Looking at those two fools in the photo, I muttered two words, "Good boys." Every cent they spent was nailing their own coffins. I deleted the photo and, just as I looked up, saw that my mother had woken up and was looking at me. "Emily." Her voice was weak. "Mom, you're awake. How do you feel?" I quickly walked over and held her hand. "I'm fine, just, where's Ryan?" She looked around. "Such a big thing as my surgery, why didn't he come?" My eyes welled up, almost unable to hold back. But I knew I couldn't tell her the truth now. I forced a smile. "Mom, the company had an urgent matter and sent him abroad on a business trip. It was rushed, so he didn't have time to tell you. Look, he specifically instructed me to get you the best doctors." My mother finally relaxed and nodded. That's good, work comes first. "Emily, you've been through a lot alone." "Not hard at all." I tucked in her blanket. "Mom, rest well, everything is under control with me." After comforting my mother, I left the ward, and the smile on my face vanished instantly. The phone rang again, this time, a local unfamiliar number. I answered, and a middle-aged woman's sharp cry came through. Emily. You jinx. Did you force our Ryan away? Where's my son? Give me back my son. It was Ryan's mother, my former mother-in-law, Gloria. It seemed her son had eagerly shared the good news with her. The show was unfolding act by act. I liked this pace. Aunt Gloria, speak with evidence. My voice was cold, without a trace of warmth. Ryan is an adult, he has hands and feet, how would I know where he went? You dare quibble. Gloria threw a tantrum on the other end. Ryan told me everything. You're such a vicious woman. Not only did you force him to leave with nothing, but you also swallowed all his money. Now he's forced by you to not return home and can only work abroad. Emily, I tell you, if anything happens to my son, I'll never let you off. Leave with nothing? Swallow his money? I almost laughed in anger at her ability to twist facts. Ryan, this man, was rotten to the core. He did the dirty deed himself, yet splashed the dirty water on me, portraying himself as a pitiful man forced away by a vicious wife. He went abroad to work? I feigned surprise. That's not right, didn't he say he was going abroad to marry Vera and live a fairy tale life? How did it become working when it reached you? Gloria on the other end clearly choked. Obviously, Ryan had only told her the lies favorable to him, not that he had eloped with my best friend. You're talking nonsense. Marry whom? Who's Vera? Gloria's tone was somewhat panicked. You don't know Vera? She's my best friend. I reminded her leisurely. The one who often came to our house for meals, you even praised her for being beautiful and better at talking than me. Oh, right, Ryan said they truly love each other, and the $5 million they absconded with is their wedding gift. $5 million? Gloria's voice instantly rose, sharp and piercing. What $5 million? Ryan said you didn't give him a single cent. It seems your son isn't very honest with you either. I chuckled lightly. Aunt Gloria, if you want the truth, it's simple, call him yourself. Ask if he's now embracing Vera, driving a multi-million-dollar sports car, and living it up in a 7-star hotel in Dubai. Beep, beep, beep. Gloria hung up hastily. I could imagine her expression at that moment, shock, anger, and the embarrassment of being deceived by her son. She would definitely call Ryan to confront him. And that was exactly what I wanted. I intended to dismantle that adulterous pair's alliance from within. Sure enough, within 10 minutes, Warren's assistant sent a new message. It was an audio clip less than a minute long. Opening it revealed Ryan and Vera's intense argument. Ryan. Your mom just called and cursed me, saying I'm the vixen who seduced you. What exactly did you tell her? Vera's voice was hysterical. What could I say? It was for your own good. I couldn't tell my mom we stole Emily's money and ran away. Ryan's tone was full of impatience. Then you can't push all the blame on me. And that $5 million. Why did you only tell your mom Emily didn't give you a cent, but not that we took $5 million? Do you want to hog the money? Vera, are you fucking sick? We're in the same boat now, what good does hogging do me? Then transfer all the money to me. Give me the bank card to keep. In your dreams. I risked getting this money, why give it to you? The audio ended abruptly here. I smiled satisfiedly. Good. The seeds of suspicion and doubt had been planted. Next, just a little catalyst would make it take root, sprout, and grow into a towering tree capable of strangling them all. I forwarded this audio to an email. The recipient was Vera's father, Gordon. Gordon was an honest businessman who doted on this daughter like the apple of his eye. If he knew his precious daughter not only became a mistress but also eloped with a wild man carrying stolen money, I wondered what he would think. After doing all this, I entered the ward as if nothing happened and started peeling an apple for my mother. Sunlight streamed through the window, warm and cozy. Everything seemed so peaceful. But only I knew that a massive storm was brewing in the distant Middle East. And I was the one holding the storm's remote control. I waited patiently for the next call. I knew it would come soon. The call came the next morning. It was an unfamiliar Dubai number. I pressed answer, and Vera's suppressed sobbing voice came through. Emily. Emily, I beg you, let us go. Her voice trembled, filled with fear. Let you go? What have I done? I asked knowingly, my tone full of innocence. Stop pretending. Was it you? Did you send people after us? Vera's emotions instantly lost control, and she screamed. Our credit card stopped working since yesterday. The hotel said there's a problem with our pre-authorization and wants to kick us out. And that car. The Ferrari we just bought yesterday is gone this morning. Stolen. Oh? So miserable? I sighed and feigned sympathy. Did you report to the police? Report to the police? How dare we? Vera's voice carried despair. This money's origin is illicit. Once we report, we're done for. Seems you're not too dumb. I chuckled lightly. You know what you've done is illegal. Emily. What exactly do you want? Vera roared with a sob. We don't want the money. We'll return it all to you. Tell your people to stop, okay? I beg you. My people? I laughed. Vera, aren't you overestimating me? I'm just a woman jointly betrayed by her husband and best friend, almost unable to pay for her mother's surgery. How could I have such great ability to extend my reach to Dubai? You. Vera was choked. However, I changed tack. I can point you to a way out. Vera grasped at it like a lifesaver, urgently asking, what way? You should still have some cash on you, right? Quickly buy 2 plane tickets, anywhere, the farther from Dubai the better. Remember, don't use your passports, find a smuggler, sneak out. Otherwise, you won't escape. Smuggling? Vera's voice was full of fear. Correct. My voice was cold and cruel. From the moment you absconded with that money, you've become fugitives. The good days are over. Next, welcome to hell. After saying that, I hung up directly. I knew my words would completely shatter their psychological defenses. The credit cards being frozen, the sports car stolen, all Warren's doing. The purpose was to create panic, turning them into frightened birds. And my call just now was the last straw that broke the camel's back. They would believe an invisible net was closing in on them, and that net was cast by me. To survive, their only choice was to follow my advice, smuggle out. Once they boarded the smuggling boat, what awaited them would be true despair. Warren's people were already waiting on that route. After all this, I felt somewhat tired, not physically, but mentally. Manipulating people's hearts was far more draining than imagined. I walked to the garden downstairs in the hospital to get some fresh air. Just as I sat down, a middle-aged man in a suit and gold-rimmed glasses sat beside me. It was Warren's assistant, Leo. Miss Emily. He nodded politely. Leo. I responded. Warren sent me to ask about the next step of the plan. Have them smuggled to Thailand. I said flatly. Warren should be quite familiar with the business there, right? Leo pushed his glasses, a glint flashing in his eyes behind the lenses. Understood. Once there, should we dispose of them directly, or? No. I shook my head, a flash of ruthlessness in my eyes. That would be too easy on them. I want them alive, living in pain worse than death. Ryan is greedy and selfish, Vera is vain and face-loving. Once in Thailand, separate them. Tell Ryan that if he can squeeze 1 million from Vera, we'll let him live. Tell Vera that if she goes all out and serves the clients there well, earning 1 million, she can live too. Leo was stunned. He obviously didn't expect that I, a seemingly gentle and weak woman, could devise such a vicious scheme. This was to make them turn on each other like dogs biting dogs, tormenting one another until collapse. I understand. Leo took a deep breath. Miss Emily, you really opened my eyes. Likewise. I looked at the distant sky. Tell Warren that after it's done, from that 10 million, I'll give him another million as a hardship fee. Leo stood up and bowed deeply to me. Miss Emily, rest assured, it will be handled perfectly. Watching his departing figure, I felt no pleasure at all. My heart held only a cold void. Originally, I wanted to be a little woman protected by her husband and sharing secrets with her best friend. It was they who personally forced me into becoming a devil. The following days were calm. My daily life was between the company and the hospital. My mother's recovery was going well, she could already get out of bed and walk slowly. At the company, I took a long leave, but Warren had already arranged everything, no one dared object. As for Ryan and Vera, they seemed to have vanished from the earth, with no news at all. But I knew they were advancing diligently on the path to hell I had laid for them. That afternoon, while I was reading the newspaper to my mother, an unexpected person came to the door. Vera's father, Gordon. He looked 10 years older than last time, with half his hair white and his face etched with deep worry. Emily. As soon as he spoke, his voice was extremely hoarse. I let my mother rest first, then took him to the outside lounge area. Uncle Gordon, why are you here? I pretended to know nothing. Gordon looked at me, his lips trembling for a long time, then suddenly thud, he knelt before me. I was startled and quickly helped him up. Uncle Gordon, what are you doing? Get up quickly. Emily, Uncle begs you. Gordon, tears streamed down, gripping my hand tightly. Tell Uncle, where exactly did Vera go? Is she with that bastard named Ryan? I sneered inwardly but showed just the right amount of shock and sadness on my face. Uncle Gordon, you know everything? I know everything. Gordon pulled out his phone from his pocket and played an audio clip. It was the argument recording I had sent him a few days ago. This beast. I treated her like my own daughter, the best friend, how could she do such a thing? Gordon pounded his chest, filled with regret and anger. And that Ryan, isn't he your husband? How could they? I lowered my head, my shoulders slightly shaking, timely squeezing out a few tears. Uncle Gordon, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hide it from you. I just felt too ashamed. I didn't expect the two people I trusted most to betray me together. My vulnerability and grievance instantly aroused Gordon's protective instinct and sympathy. It's not your fault, Emily, it's Uncle's failure in educating his daughter. I'm the one who wronged you. He wiped his tears and asked urgently, Emily, do you have any news of them? Vera hasn't contacted home for a week, her phone doesn't go through, I'm going mad with worry. I shook my head, looking bewildered, I don't know either. That day they sent me a message saying they were going abroad to get married, and after that, no contact at all. Then, what's with the 5 million? Gordon pressed. That was all my savings. I smiled bitterly. It was the life-saving money I prepared for my mother's surgery. They took it all. Beasts. Truly two beasts. Gordon trembled with anger. Looking at me, his eyes filled with guilt, Emily, rest assured, Uncle will cover your mother's medical expenses. They took your money, Uncle will repay you double. I only ask that if you have any news of Vera, tell me immediately. This was the sentence I was waiting for. I feigned refusal a few times, finally reluctantly accepting the 10 million he transferred. Looking at the bank's arrival SMS on my phone, my heart had no ripple. Vera, you ruined my life with vanity and betrayal. Now, I'll use the money from your most beloved father to pay for your ticket to hell. This is fair. After seeing off the dejected Gordon, I returned to the ward. Just as I sat down, Leo's call came. Miss Emily, the fish have arrived in Thailand. As per your instructions, they've been separated. His voice carried a hint of excitement. The good show can begin. I walked to the window, looking at the blooming roses in the garden below, red as blood. Let it begin. Thailand, Bangkok suburbs, a damp and dark basement. Ryan was pinned to the ground by two burly men covered in tattoos. A man wearing a gold chain squatted in front of him, patting his face with a dagger. "Kid, do you know where this is?" Ryan was scared out of his wits, his crotch wet. I don't know, big brother, I have no money, really no money. Our money was all stolen." The days smuggling from Dubai to Thailand were like a nightmare for him. They were locked in the cargo ships holed by the smuggler, squeezed with a group of stinking people, eating irregularly. Finally enduring to Thailand, just ashore, they were kidnapped by this group. The gold chain man laughed, revealing a mouth full of gold teeth. "No money? No money and you dare touch Warren's goods?" "Warren? What Warren?" Ryan looked blank. "Seems you don't know you're at death's door." The gold chain man stood up, stepping on Ryan's fingers and grinding hard. "Ah!" Ryan let out a pig-slaughtering scream. "You and that woman absconded with Warren's 5 million cargo payment. Now, Warren is very angry, and the consequences are severe." "No. That money is Emily's. It's that bitch's." Ryan, in pain with tears and snot flowing, hurriedly shifted blame. "Emily?" The gold chain man feigned confusion. "Oh, I remember, the woman who cooperated with us to lure you in?" Ryan's scream stopped abruptly, he jerked his head up, eyes bulging like bells. What did you say? You thought you were fighting Emily? Fool. From start to finish, you were just a pawn she used to please Warren." The gold chain man grinned ferociously. "She's now living well in China with the 10 million commission from Warren and the 10 million compensation from your little lover's father. And you and your little lover, prepare to rot here. 20 million, cooperation, pawn," these words exploded like bombs in Ryan's mind. He finally understood. From beginning to end, this was a setup. A deadly trap Emily had meticulously set for him and his damn self. That woman he thought was weak and bullyable, whom he played in his palm, had actually laid such a vast net behind the scenes. Immense fear and unwillingness instantly engulfed him. "No. Impossible. I don't believe it," he roared madly. "Emily, that bitch. I'll kill her. I'll kill her." "Kill her? Take care of yourself first." The gold chain man withdrew his foot, looking down at him. "However, Warren is merciful and gave you a chance to live." Ryan, like a drowning man grasping driftwood, looked up urgently. "Your little lover, called Vera, right? Looks decent." Warren said, "If you can make her entertain our guests and earn back 5 million, I'll let you live." Ryan was stunned. To make him send Vera too, he hesitated. Although his love for Vera was far less deep than for money, after all. The gold chain man saw his hesitation, sneered, and signaled his subordinate. A burly man came over, holding a rusty pliers. "If you can't bear it, that's fine too. Leave your 10 fingers and 10 toes, and you can go." Looking at the pliers, Ryan's blood froze. In his mind, one side was Vera's crying face, the other his own bloody, mangled hands and feet. This choice took less than a second. "I'll do it," he almost roared. "I'll make her go. Whatever you want her to do, I'll make her do it." In the face of life and death, so-called love was as cheap as tissue paper. On the other side, Vera was locked in the attic of a garishly decorated massage parlor. A heavily made-up middle-aged woman pinched her chin, examining left and right like appraising merchandise. "Decent foundation, just a bit thin." The woman was the shop's boss, known as Madam. "Who are you? What do you want? Let me out." Vera struggled in terror. "Let you out?" Madam laughed, slapping her face. "You owe our boss 5 million and still want out? Tell you, from today, you'll entertain clients here properly. When you pay off the debt, then you can scram." "Entertain clients?" Vera was struck as if by lightning, her face pale. "No. I don't want to. This is illegal." "Illegal?" Madam laughed as if hearing the biggest joke. "Here, I am the law. take her in, teach her the rules. Two thugs rushed in, dragging Vera to a room with pink curtains. Inside, several girls as young as her were numbly applying makeup in front of mirrors. Seeing Vera dragged in, they just glanced indifferently, then continued their actions. That look was one of complete despair and lifelessness. Vera was terrified, she struggled madly, cried, begged. "I'll return the money. I'll return all the money." "Money?" Madame stood arms crossed at the door, sneering. "Too late. Our boss said, no need for money, just you, using your body to pay the debt." "No, don't." Vera's cries were soon drowned in piercing music and men's filthy laughter. What she didn't know was that in the next room, Ryan was watching all this expressionlessly through a pinhole camera. Madame walked to his side, handing him a cigarette. "Kid, your little lover is quite fierce. But rest assured, once here, even the wildest horse turns into a docile cat for me." Ryan took a puff, and in the swirling smoke, his gaze became sinister and mad. His slight guilt toward Vera had long been replaced by survival desire and overwhelming hatred for Emily. His only thought now was to survive. Then, go back and seek revenge on Emily. For this, he could resort to any means. "Madam," he spoke, voice hoarse. "If she's disobedient, beat her. Beat her to near death. Just don't damage the face." Madame looked at him approvingly. "Not bad, ruthless enough. Material for big things. Rest assured, once she starts entertaining, you'll get 10% of each earning." Ryan's eyes lit up. Not only did he want to live, but he also wanted to accumulate money again through Vera. He wanted to make a comeback. That night, Vera was forced on duty. The first client was a fat man reeking of alcohol, with a beer belly. When that dirty hand reached for her, she broke down. She resisted desperately, scratching the fat man with her nails. As a result, she was dragged back to the basement and brutally beaten by Ryan and several thugs with belts and sticks. Ryan struck the hardest. He vented all his resentment, unwillingness, and humiliation on Vera. "Bitch. It's all you. If not for you seducing me, how would I end up like this? Don't you like money? Aren't you vain? Now earn to your heart's content. Be obedient, damn it. Or I'll beat you to death." Vera was beaten black and blue, barely breathing. When dragged before clients again, the light in her eyes was completely extinguished. She no longer resisted, no longer cried, like a soulless puppet, at others' mercy. All this was clearly recorded by hidden cameras, then transmitted via encrypted network to my phone thousands of miles away. I watched expressionlessly the video of Ryan's face twisted by jealousy and madness, and Vera's empty, despairing eyes. I felt no pleasure, nor pity. I simply saved the video, then packaged and sent it to two people. One was Gloria. The other was Gordon. When Gloria received the video, she was at the mahjong parlor bragging to her partners. "I tell you, my Ryan is now a big boss abroad, so promising. Just a few days ago, he said he'd send me $1 million back for retirement." "Oh, Gloria, you're so blessed." "Yeah, unlike mine, who only knows how to gnaw on the old." Gloria was flattered, her face wrinkles blooming with laughter. At that moment, her phone rang. She opened the video, and the unbearable scenes inside, along with Ryan's mad roars, instantly froze the smile on her face. "Ah!" A scream echoed through the entire mahjong parlor. Gloria's eyes rolled back, and she fainted straight away. On the other side, Gordon's reaction was much more intense. After watching the video, he smashed the home TV on the spot. His eyes bloodshot, like an enraged lion. He couldn't believe the man in the video beating his daughter like a mad dog was the same Ryan who had been genteel before him, sweetly calling uncle more than anyone. What broke him more was his daughter, the treasure he raised in his palm, actually suffering such torment. "Call the police. I want to call the police." He grabbed the phone to dial 911. But his hand stopped midair. He couldn't call the police. Once reported, Vera being a mistress and conspiring with Ryan to abscond with money would be publicized. His face, the Lin family's face, would be completely lost. More importantly, the video sender, that anonymous number, attached a sentence, "Report to police," and she dies. Gordon collapsed on the sofa, a man in his 50s crying like a child. Regret, anger, helplessness, like countless ants gnawing at his heart. He knew this was retribution. Emily's revenge. The girl deeply hurt by their father-daughter duo was now using the cruelest way to collect the blood debt. The next day, Gordon contacted me initiative. His voice on the phone was aged and despairing. "Emily, I was wrong. Our Lin family wronged you. I beg you, let Vera go. Her crime doesn't deserve death. Whatever money you want, I'll give. 100 million, is that enough? As long as you let her come back." Listening to his pleas, my heart was calm. "Uncle Gordon, what are you saying? I don't understand. What's wrong with Vera? Isn't she living well abroad with Ryan? Stop pretending." Gordon finally couldn't hold back and roared. "I know it's you. All this is your doing. You devil." "Devil?" I laughed, the laughter full of desolation and sarcasm. "Back then, when you jointly pushed me into hell, why didn't you think that what crawls out of hell would only be a devil? Gordon, now you know heartache? Where were you when your daughter stole my husband and absconded with my life-saving money? You think giving me 10 million can compensate for the harm you caused me? Is that atonement? No, you're just buying your own peace of mind. I tell you, it's too late. Everything is too late. Your daughter's latter half will be spent in that filthy massage parlor. As for Ryan, he'll watch with his own eyes, help with his own hands, pushing your daughter to one man after another, until she rots, goes mad, dies. And you, Gordon, hold your money, your face, and age alone." I roared it all in one breath, feeling all the pent-up frustration in my chest gushing out with these words. I slammed down the phone, leaned against the wall, panting heavily. Tears finally flowed uncontrollably. It was over. Everything was over. This revenge started by betrayal finally drew its curtain. I won. But why did I feel no joy at all? I wiped my tears, and the phone screen lit up. It was a message from Warren. "Miss Emily, the final payment has arrived. Additionally, a gift attached to congratulate our successful cooperation." Below was a video file. I hesitated, then opened it. In the video, it was the Thai basement. Ryan was kneeling on the ground, reporting the income of these days to the gold chain man. The gold chain man nodded satisfiedly, suddenly pulling a gun from behind and aiming at Ryan's head. Ryan's pupils contracted sharply. Bang! A gunshot. The video ended abruptly. I watched that video segment 3 times. Ryan's expression of shock, fear, and unwillingness before falling was deeply imprinted in my mind. Warren's this gift was truly weighty. He was demonstrating his power to me and also warning me. He could dispose of Ryan silently, naturally could do the same to me. I deleted the video and all contact information with Warren and Leo. This transaction ended here. From now on, I had no more ties with them. The next day, I handled the discharge procedures. My mother recovered well but still needed quiet recuperation. I rented a house with a courtyard in the suburbs, serene environment suitable for retirement. I didn't tell my mother anything about Ryan and Vera. In her eyes, her son-in-law was still striving abroad for his career, just too busy to contact. I didn't want her to waste any more thought on those scumbags. Gloria came to find me once. She blocked me downstairs at my rental. In just half a month, she seemed to have aged 20 years, hair all white, spirit wilted, eyes turbid. She didn't throw a tantrum or cry, just grabbed my arm, asking over and over, "Where's my son? Where did you take my son?" I looked at her calmly. "Aunt Gloria, whether your son lives or dies has nothing to do with me anymore. Back then, it was you who indulged him, spoiling him into an irresponsible, selfish waste. It was you who told him that men finding women outside is ability. It was you who tacitly allowed him to use my earned money to support other women. Now you come asking me for your son? You should ask yourself how you pushed him step by step into the abyss. I pried open her hand and turned to leave. She didn't chase after, just squatted on the ground, letting out beast-like despairing howls. As for the Lynn family, I later heard Gordon fell seriously ill, lost heart in running the company, and it soon went bankrupt. He sold the house, took his wife, moved to the countryside, and disappeared from then on. Perhaps, for him, leaving this heartbreaking place was the best relief. As for me, after settling my mother, I submitted my resignation to the company. I was tired of the financial circle's deceit and wanted to change my way of life. Using the money from Warren, plus Gordon's compensation, I opened a small flower shop. The shop's name was Rebirth. Every day, accompanied by flowers and plants, my days were peaceful and fulfilling. Those past hatreds, betrayals, struggles seemed like things from a previous life. That afternoon, with fine sunshine, a courier delivered a package with no sender information. Curiously, I opened it. Inside was an exquisite wooden box. Opening the box, inside lay a withered finger quietly. On the finger was a ring I was extremely familiar with. It was my and Ryan's wedding ring. In the box was also a card, printed with a line, "Miss Emily, game over. Wishing you a pleasant rebirth." I closed the box and threw it into the trash bin at the flower shop door. A gust of wind blew, swirling a few petals that landed on my shoulder. I raised my head, looking at the azure sky, and took a deep breath. The air was full of sunlight and floral fragrance. Yes, rebirth. My rebirth had just begun.